Okay. So badass. You're driving excellent.
Thank you.
So be careful because this is a little faster than we were going. There you go. I like that.
Are we okay at this RPM?
Nice. Perfect. I love it. I can jump it in. Yep. Jump it. Yep. Honey. That was rad.
Like that?
Yeah, that's good.
That was fun.
Isn't it?
We're in Johnson Valley in Southern California, and this is the home of the Hammers, which is like kind of the gnarliest rock trails on the planet. And you know what? We have kings in America. I'm going to introduce you to my buddy, my longtime friend, Jason Scheer, who is an American king. You are like rock royalty, bro.
It means so much to me to come out here and have a good time and show you this car and let you go have a chance to drive it.
Dude, so I need to tell people, we need to tell people what this is. But we have this really cool global audience that may or may not know what an Ultra 4 car is.
Well, America has amazing wheeling, all different types, but it's sort of undisputed that the Hammers is the gnarliest of the trails, like you said. This Bronco was built from the ground up, purpose-built as a race car to come out here and win the hardest one-day race in America, which is called King of the Hammers, and I've been lucky to win it 3 times. So the sport was really born in 2008, and what the goal was to combine all the Hammers trails into a race that you had to get to through the desert. So high-speed desert sections and still those technical rock crawling sections that was very similar to what we had been doing before.
When this race idea was born, we all were like scratching our heads like, what? You want me to take my rock buggy and go fast through the desert? And then meanwhile, the desert guys are like, what? You want me to take my desert truck and go through the rocks?
Combine two worlds. It's become this really cool sport. Like when you took the two of them and combined them, it didn't just make like half of each. It made it 10 times bigger for everybody.
Every off-road aftermarket, manufacturer has been out here. This is a proving grounds for them, and new parts have come out.
Even desert racing that was very well established. Like I think I raced the 50th Baja 1000. It's been around for a long time. It shows that they have adopted some of our technologies. The top trophy trucks are all-wheel drive, and that wasn't really their first time at it, but after seeing some of the things that we had done, they went back to it, and now the top trucks are almost all-wheel drive.
Right.
And even one of the top builders even credited the Ultra 4 community for sort of pushing that envelope back in that direction. Even things like the new Bronco getting released and saying, this is our spot, right? Whereas, this is the hardest part. If you're going to prove yourself, you prove it here, and everyone knows this is the place.
And that's a perfect lead in to tell everybody that you're part of the Ford Bronco racing team for King of the Hammers Ultra 4 Racing. So this is a full race car, nicely used. Tell me what this is.
So this is an unlimited 4400 class car, and it is a Ford Bronco with Ford powertrain, and we have raced it for 7 years. And the amazing statistic about this car is it has started on the front row 7 years in a row, which means it qualifies either first or second every time out.
And it being you, the driver. Come on, this is rad. But
I'm laser focused on qualifying.
Dude, come on.
No,
I'm a super fan of yours, Jason. For the kid out there that's like, I want to be a race car driver. I don't care what discipline it is, if it's rock sports or Indy or NASCAR. How do you get Ford? What has to happen in your career before you've got OEM top of the food chain paying attention to you?
It has been a long road, and it wasn't an easy path, but I will say that, if you work hard at it and you go through those steps, sometimes they work out and sometimes they probably don't. Mine was super fortunate. In 2018, I won King of the Hammers. I backed it up in 2019 with the second. It was actually my third win, but it was the first time anyone had back-to-back won the Hammers. The announcer was Cameron Steele, who has become a dear friend. I hardly knew him before that, and he got the Bronco deal to race the Ford Bronco R in the Baja 1000, and he invited me to be part of it. So we did that for 2 years. King of the Hammers was growing. The people from Ford knew that they were releasing the Bronco, and they wanted this to be where the Bronco came out and showed the world how awesome it was. And so they picked me to be part of that team, along with a couple other top drivers. And so the three of us have sort of held the flagship of the unlimited class. They're now coming out with a 4800 race car, which is going to be the stock class Bronco, which is an actual production Bronco.
That's cool.
And it's going to race, and I'll be racing that next season.
I really want us to talk about your IFS, independent front suspension, because solid axle used to be the only way you could get through rocks.
Right. I mean, I think we all evolved from like the early Broncos, early Jeeps. They were all fairly similar. We then linked them. They had leaf springs. We added bigger shocks. You know, everyone went, oh, I want Fox bypasses. I want to make the car go through the whoops. We were adopting sort of what was going on in the trophy truck world after I had been in a couple of trophy trucks and said, oh, it's incredible what they do. We need to build an all-wheel drive version of that for King of the Hammers. And so I turned to a good friend, Dallas Lund, and we did all the work in SolidWorks to be able to build it out, laser cut it, welded it up, put it together, and built our first car. And it wasn't perfect. I mean, literally, we drove it one race and we cut it apart and changed it. My friend and dear friend Adam Scherer and I that built that car, we had to make massive changes after the first race, and then about 3 years later, I built another car with Dan Trout, and that's this car, and I love it. It's so nice to drive. I can't wait for you to drive it today because it drives like it should, and I think a lot of cars that have quirks, are hard to drive and stuff, and so I think you're really going to enjoy it and be able to get a lot out of it really quickly. And once you learn to drive IFS, you'll sort of say, oh, this is so much better. It's a great debate amongst King of the Hammers. They could have never picked an open rulebook class and had solid axle versus IFS is like the center point debate. I mean, Randy's won 3, Eric Miller's won a couple, I've won 1 in a solid axle, 2 in an IFS. You start going down the list, it's been back and forth, back and forth, back and forth year after year.
Right.
And in a class that has no rules, to have 2 totally different car types, front engine, rear engine, all this stuff, and to have them battle back and forth has made it one of the greatest debates in racing.
That's crazy. Okay, this isn't no show pony. Look at this thing, dude. You have worked this car. It is obviously super grueling, the type of like terrain that you're going through with this vehicle, but I love it. I seriously look at all of this carnage on here and dirt and grease, and I love it.
It's
really
a race
cool.
car, and
I love it.
I'm not necessarily a naturally talented driver. I practice. I practice the most. We talked about this last night. I have done 70 trips to the Hammers.
Okay, that's
and
legit.
I love coming here, but I feel like the seat time is what's made me a better driver.
So you have a solid axle in the rear, and you have your gears are spooled in your differential, so it's always locked.
Always locked
turning.
in the rear. The front has an ARB in it, so you can actually control the front differential.
And that's an air locker.
An air locker. And what it allows you to do is to have, go into a corner in the desert, and the wheels can go different speeds around the corner.
Right.
But when you get into the rocks, you flip the switch, it locks up the front differential, and all 4 tires are pulling equally through the rock trails, which is great.
Right. So, dude, you've got some serious axle trusses going on here.
Yeah.
You've probably discovered that you were bending axle housings.
We were originally. My friend Keith Beam just built this new rear housing. It's a Spider Trax axle housing.
That's beautiful.
It's a 3.5-inch tube. It's got a 10-inch motive ring gear in it, so we can beat on this thing. It's why we run a high pinion differential so that the drive line is up higher.
Yep.
It's weaker by design because you're on the wrong side of the gear, but it's way better to not lose the drive lines all the time. It's got huge Alcon brakes, and Alcons are like the clamping force, and the way that this car stops makes it so much easier to drive, especially we're endurance racing, so you're in there 7.5, 8 hours on a good day, and you need the brakes to last the whole race.
And you're 2-footing it all the time. You're driving through the brake pedal all the time.
Especially in the rocks, which is what everyone doesn't understand. If you can't keep the car kind of loaded up in the rocks, you get that bang, 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 and you get kind of out of control. And that's, as soon as you lose that little bit of control, it's where you start taking out tires left and right and stuff, because you're this game is a game of inches through the rocks, and you're trying to go as fast as you can through them without making a mistake. And it's It's a mental game as much as it is physical.
You're not running low range, which is totally, again, mind-blowing that you can do what you're doing without low range.
You know, this thing is about saving seconds to make yourself faster all day long. And so what we came up with was to switch to a 4L80 transmission and an SCS transfer case and eliminate the low range that we had by having a really low first gear and then back to the same gears that we had before in high range. And so we've kind of got the best of both worlds. Everything was better. Second gear is a little bit closer to where I wanted. Third gear is perfect.
It's
and
all
then overdrive.
Full custom setup
to
work specifically for what you want. And then your SCS transfer case, you got the quick change gears in the back.
Yep, if we go race a short course race, we can drop the ratio. If we're out here at the Hammers, we know exactly where we want to be.
That's crazy.
But the motor's the highlight.
Oh my gosh, I know. Okay, so obviously you got a Ford Performance crazy, like, this is a trophy truck engine, dude.
It is. So Dugan's built this motor. Ford Performance gave us, you know, the right cylinder heads that they wanted us to run. They were actually banned from NASCAR.
Why?
I think they were too good. If it's banned, it's great, right? Like I want it. You can't have it. I want it, right?
Okay.
But no, really, they flowed better. I think Yates built the heads originally, and so Dugan's built it. It's Windsor based, which everyone is like, wow, that's an old theory, but it's a dart block, Windsor based. 463 cubic inches out of a small block. It was a no-brainer to want to go this route. It's 830 horsepower, but it's also 650 foot-pounds of torque. And the torque range is broader than most of the engines that we had been kind of accustomed to before, which made it easier to drive, allowed you to kind of shift a little sooner in a corner when you didn't need it, but you still had the torque to pick it up after. And so it made it a better, more rounded motor for what we needed. More rounded, but wilder too. So it's a little bit more power than I was used to. And people don't realize, I mean, we're beating on it for 7.5 hours as hard as we can push it. And, you know, while you look at the data and you go through it all, it's amazing that it can hold up, and it just loves it. I mean, it's what it wants to do.
Dude, I want you to fire this thing up.
Let's go rip it. Thank you, bro.
My pleasure.
This is an R3. It's a head and neck restraint system, and it's like a T that goes across my back. You'll see it. The seatbelts are going to come up and over here, and then this is going to bolt in, hook onto our helmets, and it's going to keep us from breaking our necks.
Oh, you made it look graceful.
Sounds good, dude.
Yeah.
Cool. This sounds so cool, dude.
Perfect. And then just get a feel for it and like feel the brakes a little bit, and it'll kind of give you that feeling. And they'll get better as they warm up.
Yeah.
Because they were like a race compound. But it's nice how it turns into stuff.
I'm gonna play with the brakes for a second.
It looks crazy, doesn't it? I love it. You're doing great.
Feels awesome.
How fun is this?
This is awesome. Your brakes are super soft.
Yeah, it's a long throw pedal.
Yeah, because it's super, okay,
long,
I can feel it engage way deep in.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's like that much movement before it really catches.
Yeah. It's a 14-to-1 ratio pedal, so it goes a long way down.
I don't really know what that means.
So most cars have 7-to-1.
Okay.
And so you feel a very firm pedal. This has a really long throw.
Okay, so I have to get deep into it before it's really, really grabbing.
Totally.
Well, that allows you to not make a mistake too, right?
It's really controlled feeling.
Yeah.
I actually like it because it takes less pedal pressure, so my leg doesn't have to push nearly as hard to get the same. It's actually half the effort mechanically.
You're you turn around?
Sure, whatever you want to do. You can just cruise if you want to get more of a feel for it. So that's 80 miles an hour right there.
Oh, I think we hit 90 back there. I was floored, actually. Okay, I want to feel these brakes. Okay, awesome.
Pretty fun.
Yeah. It's awesome. I can't believe how comfortable it is in that stuff.
It's wild, huh?
That's amazing, yeah.
It doesn't look possible when you look at the size of the whoops.
I could have never done that in a rock crawler.
Great job.
So fun.
You're still going 70 miles an hour through here. It's not wild.
Yeah. Have you ever sat passenger?
No.
What?
And you know what? You drive it so nicely, Nicole. Like,
Really?
that's just how I drive it. I shift the gears smooth. I brake in the spots where there's not a bunch of braking chatter. I try to like protect the drivetrain from being like real violent on it. And you do the same thing. Plus, like I noticed when we were like offline, you have great brake control. That's something that's really hard to teach people, you know?
You ready?
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to the rocks.
Thanks. Let's go do it, man. I want all these gears. Alrighty.
So whenever you want, you can hit the air locker unless you already have.
Turn it on. Air
Yep.
locker's
And
on.
then what I do is I put my foot on the brake.
Yep, I drive
And I
it
just kinda
two-footed too.
feel
So,
the-
do you want me to go left? I don't
Sure.
actually know
Sure.
this trail very well.
So you'll have to go over that rock. Isn't that crazy?
Yep,
It's wide.
it's no problem.
Yeah. I mean, it's not uncomfortable. It's just big, you know?
No problem. Not bad.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You don't have to
That's
apologize.
what you wanted.
No.
So where's your line? Go through over here on the right?
I
Where
don't
the
know.
tires up marks are?
Sure. Whatever you want. Perfect, Nicole. Absolutely perfect. A little left, yep.
It is different than
Yeah.
a solid axle.
Yeah. It's a little bit more spongy feeling. huh?
Yes, it is spongy. So
Yeah.
hard right over this rock or to the left of
I
it?
think right through there. Right, yeah, go right.
This is so cool. You know, how many times have you been asked, how do I get into that? When I was doing monster trucks, I was always asked, how do I become a monster truck driver?
I did the go-kart motocross path, you know, like trials bikes. It was my precursor to getting into the rock crawling. But
I think right now the razors have changed the game. You can get a razor affordably, build it up, race King of the Hammers. You know, nothing's easy, and it shouldn't be, right? If it wasn't a challenge, I mean, I have a friend, I did a podcast with a friend of mine, and he told me something that I was shocked, but it's true. It's the suffering that makes this race so special. You suffer through it.
It's so
And the
true.
group of 20 people that come to the finish line out of the 110 that start our class, those 20 people have a bond together because they suffered together to finish the
Right.
race. And you get done with it and you feel a connection, a sense of accomplishment. It's affected every part of my daily life. I mean, there was a race in 2013 in Texas where we had issues in the middle. We were leading the race, and then we had fuel injector issues. We had to stop at the pit and change fuel injectors. And I mean, you know how long that takes. That's And I got back in the car, and the leaders were only like 30 minutes up on me, and there was 3 laps left at like 30 miles, 40 miles a piece. And I went, I could still do this, right?
No way.
So I charged, and I long story short, I won the race. And I came back, and I had just been told by a company I was bidding a job on that they were going to go with the other company
For your job
and for
stuff,
real
yeah.
work job.
Mhm.
And I got done with that race, and I came home and I called the guy and I said, listen, I really want this piece of business. What do I need to do to win this? What can I do to find a way to have this piece of business? What does my offer need to be? How can I win this? And he said, listen, submit a best and final offer for me and let me take a look at it. And I did, and we won the bid. And it was like, okay, I had the confidence from racing to do something else that wouldn't have been there if I hadn't had that
Yeah.
feeling of confidence. And
Right.
so it becomes a little part of you that you say, hey, I did that, you know,
Right.
and they can't take that away from you.
Hey, do I look like a nerd with my glasses on?
No,
No? Okay.
kind of like the librarian.
Do I look like a nerd?
Drop the locker. There we go.
So
When's it gonna drop?
I don't know, not yet, but I can feel it's the rears kind of hanging.
Just let it settle.
You got it.
Do I turn the locker off and turn this
Nah,
way?
you don't need to turn it off. Just
Well,
drive
pivot
through
it?
it. Drive through it. Drive through it. Yep.
It's pretty awesome, dude.
Isn't it fun?
Then you go
So
back to race mode here. Can't see.
I know,
can't see.
I can. So just go a little straighter. I keep going. Now turn to the right about 3 degrees. That's it.
Hold it.
Hold it
Hold
a
this
little
line?
longer. Yep. Now, right.
Now am I turning it down?
Just a little bit. Yep. Yep. Nice.
Got it.
Woo! Yeah, you've always been good at it.
Because I've laundered it so much.
Stay
Okay, I don't
straight,
see the
stay
trail.
Straight, yep. Cool. Keep
Where,
going. Keep
where,
going
where,
now
where?
to the right, just a little. Yep. Nice line. I love it. Awesome. And then hard driver. Yeah. God, you're freaking money. You know that?
Oh, sorry about that.
Okay.
A little jarring.
think?
Badass. Really fun. And now you can just take off and don't even have to shift out. You're just like peeling out again. Dude, it's so cool.
Isn't it fun? It's crazy to wheel a trail that fast, huh?
Yeah.
It's like you just wheeled Aftershock up and down in a few minutes.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You sure you don't want third gear?
No, you're fine. Back to the left, Parker. Yep, there you go. It's fun, huh? That's why I didn't want third. So now you can hit third. Pretty straight. How sick is this? I'm looking for
You
kids.
looking?
Yeah.
Good, but there's a lot of road crossings.
Can you believe that you can hit this at this speed?
No. Gosh, Jason,
That was so fun.
that was awesome!
I have a signature move. Are you ready for this?
All right, I'm ready. Hey,
That's it.
good job. That was awesome. I had a blast.
You're so awesome. You're so awesome for letting me do this. And I'm really ticked off. And I got to tell you guys, I'm really ticked right now because I'd gotten out of this darn sport and now all I want to do is freaking race again. I'm mad at you. You guys like Jason Shear. He's awesome. Go follow his stuff on YouTube at Rock
Royalty Racing, yeah.
Rock Royalty Racing. And you know what? Let me know where you guys are watching from. I love that we have an international audience, and I want you guys to leave a comment. Tell me where you guys are watching from, because we're coming to you from the Hammers in Southern California, and we'll see you next time.
Right on.
We're at Johnson Valley in the middle of the start over. I don't. Dude, I love looking at your rear end.
I'm a tub welder.
Tick-tocker. Hi, Jason. Near, far. Near, far.
Okay.
Okay, I'm done. You gotta stop shooting at some point.